Oh, come let us implore him, huh, instead of adore him. Okay, if you don't know who I am, I'm Suzanne Titkemeyer. I wrote for Pathos for nearly 10 years, column called No Longer Quivering. And yes, I'm playing with my hair for you guys that keep track of that. I've been working on several books, as a matter of fact, and right now I'm working on one about what happens in Quiverful when the weird stuff. I tried to write a serious book about Quiverful, and what happened is I got very bogged down on how depressing it was. And I find that I can get bogged down like that. This morning I was bogged down like that because of Christmas. I had kind of a okay day yesterday. I managed to bang out 8 pages of my book and edit the pages and everything. And I was really pleased with that because Stephen King himself writes and edits 6 pages a day. Now, I'm not Stephen King. I don't claim to be. I'm writing a comedy book about my time in my old church. I'm also I have a novel I've written some on, and a, hey, always grateful. And what about moving to Costa Rica that I've had to really put on the back burner because things here are changing all the time. If you saw my videos the other day on the crazy border run that the two of us made, my husband and I, it was crazy enough. And they tried to shake us down for extra money. We're talking about hurrying up and applying for our residency cards. I mean, we're still trying to, hey, Bliss Chris, collect documents, but I think I'm going to hire somebody and throw that in a high gear and get it done. Get her done. Either that or I'm going to have to apply for a digital nomad 2-year visa so I don't have to keep making that border run. That border run got hairy this time. When the guy in Nicaragua had our passport and said, you owe us an additional $20, and I'm looking at the sign that says exit tax $3 in English. It says, do not pay any other amounts, and ask for a receipt. So they kind of kicked off this. Now, if you've been listening to me talk all along about Christmas, I haven't been much feeling the Christmas spirit here. It's like 90 degrees here all the time. And I like the hot weather, but it does seem a little anti-Christmas. It took me a while to get the tree up this year. I just wasn't feeling it. Baked one load of Christmas cookies. It came out pretty awful because I used a local cheap margarine substitute that turned out bad. Um, so I just wasn't feeling it. And being disabled, having various illnesses makes it kind of a little harder, I think. I think that we go through times where we're just not feeling it. Like I said, yesterday was a good day. I did a nice charcuterie board. I wrote a whole lot. My husband and I watched some television. We just relaxed. The haywire started when we started gathering with friends to go eat at a restaurant in Flamingo owned by another friend of ours, or we've been having Thanksgiving at. It got weird quickly because our friend that we were taking there, Dave, he brought another friend. He had some new friend of his that I had never met before. And he sent us a long text message right before I got there saying, don't talk about politics, don't talk about this. There was a long list of things that we couldn't talk about and had to ask why. And he said, well, I'm trying to bring so and so to the Lord. Okay. Okay. So between last night and the night before, I was definitely not feeling much Christmas spirit at all because I was sitting there last night on tenterhooks, and the restaurant had the most limited menu I've ever seen, and it was all crap I couldn't eat. So I ordered one of the things I could eat, and it was homemade, and I don't know what they put in it, but I reacted. I was up all night till around 2 a.m. So if I look tired, there is a reason. When you're trying not to throw up and you're just sitting here in the dark, reading your Kindle, working on your latest murder mystery book, it isn't the most restful thing in the world. Hey, bossy. So between that and the night before we went to a tamale dinner and a service at another church nearby that we have friends at. What an esso that was. The worship was really good. They did a really great job with the Christmas carols and everything. And they sang one of my favorite ones. They sang Hallelujah, Hallelujah by I can't even think of his name right now. A singer who has passed on now. It was like Hallelujah, Hallelujah. It was that Hallelujah, not some of the other ones. So that was cool. And then we got to the sermon where the pastor proceeded to make a lot of unprovable claims about Jesus, including saying that historians had confirmed his presence there, citing two historians that I know for a fact didn't even write their accounts of Jesus until like 100, 125 years later. So we're not talking about firsthand witnesses. We're talking about people passing on what they've heard, which proves nothing. And then he went into accept Jesus or burn in hell, which I think is like Jeff Buckley saying it. Yes, I know Jeff. Jeff sang it, but I'm trying to think. Leonard Cohen, I think that was it, sang it. It was just one of my favorite ones there. And we used to sing it in my old church, big time. This was one we do every Christmas when we would do the Blue Christmas, which was Christmas Eve. We would do a service that was more focused on people who were mourning or going through a really tough time. And instead of being joy to the world, yeah, Leonard Cohen, hallelujah. It would be more like Leonard Cohen, hallelujah. It would be more low key. It would be more respectful and just mournful and whatever for people who were struggling. So that was I missed that because that for me was the service that I really enjoyed. Sometimes I can enjoy those ones with the over the top Christmas carols, but sometimes not. And this was a not year for me. I really didn't want to hear it. So they did a good job at this church. And then the pastor started throwing shade at anybody not accepting Jesus. He started doing the whole fire and brimstone thing, which to me is the most inappropriate thing you can do on a Christmas Eve service because a lot of people will bring guests with them. And a guest is not going to want to hear that BS. I know I certainly was sitting there, and the minute he started talking um, hell and brimstone and fire, I just tuned out and focused on something entirely different. So just confirmed to me again that we shouldn't go to that particular church. And it wasn't the one that we started with where I had the dog problems. Because the church Jim goes to did not have any Christmas services at all. No Christmas Eve, no nothing. So I started thinking about this last night when I'm sitting there, sick to my stomach with food allergies, doing the reading, about what do you do when your Christmas gets all effed up and you have things wrong with you and you don't feel your Christmas spirit. My Christmas got kind of effed up last night because of my friend Dave bringing this guy. The guy was nice enough, but he was pounding down the alcohol. And the other day I was talking about Christmas, and I didn't mention a damn thing about much of the Christmases I had endured as a child because most of my Christmas memories from a child are very bad. We had hardcore alcoholics in our family that made every holiday it turn into an S show. I'm just going to throw it out there and say that. When I had little kids, those were the best Christmases. And the ones spent far away from my family of origin in Louisiana, nobody was drinking, no one was drunk, nothing happened. So now, because of my illnesses, we're pretty low key too. And it was great right up until we went to have dinner at this place. And they didn't have advertiser special. The guy told me we're going to have special Christmas meals. I'm thinking ham, turkey, whatever. It was a tomahawk steak at $100. Please, I've got two of those sitting in my freezer. I'm not about to pay $100 for a tomahawk steak at a place. And everything on the menu was either steak or like a mussels and octopus mixture. And not that I don't like mussels and octopuses, they have their place in the menu. But I certainly wasn't feeling it for Christmas. So while I'm sitting there watching this guy pound down booze and my husband and him skirt around topics that were foreboding, I ate this vegetarian meal of fresh pasta and just got real sick. It was some kind of something I'm allergic to in it. So it was kind of like having a good Christmas with a crappy rotted cherry on top. So today I'm pushing the restart button as somebody with chronic illnesses. And guess what? We're having ham for lunch. We're having those things, a very low key meal, because for me, this is what I need to do. You know, I didn't get any of the Christmas foods yesterday. I had all the foods here to make it with. And it wasn't any problem to get everything made and to stick it in the oven. So we're having ham today. And we're doing a restart. We're pressing the restart button. So I just wanted to say, if you have crappy Christmases that end up in strange ways and you don't get to have food that you like, or what you do eat makes you sick, even though you did ask the chef about 20 or 30 questions because you have severe food allergies and you just stick to things that you know you could eat. It's okay. It really is. It's okay to start again. It's okay to have a crappy Christmas and say, okay, we're going to go ahead and redo our Christmas meal because it did not go well for us. And it's kind of frustrating because, you know, I got up this morning and I was kind of really down in the dumps. And the thing that I've learned when I get down in the dumps, it usually means something like asthma's coming. And I think it probably is. But this week, I just got to tell you, it was just a really, really, really rough week. I gashed my foot and Playa Brasilito on a piece of driftwood. I discovered moments later that all the cottages, all the little shacks that Costa Ricans have lining the beach in Brasilito and the fish market dump all the raw sewage into the ocean right there. And I had no idea. I just knew I did not like to go to Brasilito because the beach it smells like sewage and raw fish. Well, guess what? There is a reason it smells like sewage and raw fish. So we started out there, and I've been limping around on an infected foot for a couple of days. So thank God it's finally going away. But it kind of set the tone for the entire week. It was just like, rush, rush, hurry, hurry, run to the border, do this, do that, do this. And next week we have friends come. We have a friend coming to visit. And I've already told Jim, it's like, you're going to have to deal with him. I can tell you right now, I'm just not going to feel like it. So my announcement is I'm going to start doing more content like this. We talk about subjects like this instead of about without a box of Kleenex. I'm just kind of done with her. I'm done with the anti-community. The anti-community is every bit as toxic as she is. We'll be redoing our Christmas for a week and a half, second Christmas in a row. I had the bear virus. The beer virus. Oh, I'm so sorry, Bliss. I've heard so many people having it. Yet this drunken fool last night was talking the same smack I've been hearing from a lot of Americans here, which is everybody just needs to get the beer virus and get it over with. We'd all be at immunity. And I'm kind of going, because my husband has one kidney. He's kind of plump. I'm kind of plump. I've got mast cells. So we're both high risk. We're both in high risk category. And we've done pretty much everything we can to make sure we don't catch it here. We are celebrating our Christmas on Tuesday. I was in a lot of pain yesterday. He worked all day and night, etc. All alone and not in the mood. Bossy, I knew that your husband was going to be working through that, and I was been thinking about you yesterday. Especially when I'm sitting there twiddling my thumbs after the pastor started hellfire, and last night when there was some drinking and Bitcoin talk last night. And I don't have any problem with Bitcoin. My daughter's fiance has written a book on Bitcoin. He's pretty much an expert. He's got a bunch of websites that he writes for regularly about Bitcoin. So I was kind of bored. And I always react when I'm around people that are drinking heavily and not a good way. Today is my Christmas. The Lone Wanderer's Bunker. Boxing Day is for the servants. I knew it was the thing. I'm a little behind, but honestly, doing the big meal after Christmas just tastes better because of the lack of stress and pressure. Rose, I think so. I popped that ham in the oven this morning. I slathered it with raspberry jam because that's how I like to cook it. Put in some Texan corn casserole. I put in potatoes to bake. We've got strawberries and we've got strawberries and cookies still for after Christmas. Well, for dessert. And I have a salad and a couple of little things like peas I can make with it, and I'm making biscuits. So we're going to eat well today, and it's going to be our Christmas. And we're going to have some serious conversations about boundaries too after Christmas. My husband's gotten way better boundaries, but he's still not 100% there. Example, he rushed out to get his friend who has been ignoring him for 18 months from the airport, and now we haven't heard from him 6 to 8 weeks. So I have to keep pointing out that's not a friend, that's somebody that's using you. Give yourself space to process trauma and stuff when you need it. Really, happiness only kind that matters. You're right, Emily, it really is. And if you have to do a do-over, it works. He got home after 1:30 a.m. and last thing I wanted to do was pretend to care. It wasn't even Christmas anymore. Bossy, yes. You have leftover Chinese food? Bliss, I'm jealous. We cannot get Chinese food here. The Chinese food that the Chinese restaurants here is nothing like it is in the States. It's not even like Chinese food in China. It's just some kind of bizarre amalgamation of very bland Tico food and Chinese food. So it's not good. This is wonderful. We found our own ways to enjoy the holidays. Rose, that's exactly it. So today is going to be that day. My husband still doesn't say no when he should. I have to give him credit. He's made significant progress. One of the things that happened was our Canadian friend that has pressured him into keeping his car for the 18 months because of COVID, and then decided we were renting the car, decided we could pay all the expenses to do with the car, the registration, the inspection, the insurance, all of that. My husband stood up to him the other day, and I was so happy. I was like, you finally got a boundary with this guy, because the guy said something about going home in March and leaving both of his cars with us. And we were kind of like, nope, not happening. Not happening at all. I hope your dinner and leftovers are fabulous. Rose, they will be. And mostly they'll be fabulous because there won't be any drinking. There won't be any pressure. We may watch Better Call Saul while we're eating. So it's going to be awesome. Now, we're probably going to be sneakily eating while Velma is here because she's coming to use the hot tub after church. And that's a thing. But that's okay because I want to pick her brain about what happened at our old church because she went there for their Christmas Eve service. And Jim said, should we go there? And I said, not in a million zillion years. So we went to this other place that we don't go to, that our friends go to, that I was just kind of done with him once he started talking about fire and brimstone. I tried to gently talk to one of the main guys there later when he asked me how I liked the sermon. I said, I liked it just fine until the pastor, Costa Rican name, went right into hellfire and damnation. And I started explaining how when you have visitors coming, when you have Christmas and everybody is showing up for Christmas Eve service, including people that don't ever go to church, they're going to hear a message of hellfire and damnation. Guess what they're going to do? They're going to go right back out that door. So that's literally the stupidest thing you could do, I think, in a church. And Peru Chinese food is very good. Well, I'll try it when I get down to Peru. Now, I think I did find a new Chinese place that I've got to eat. I've got to stop there. It's between Tamarindo and Liberia. So the next time I go shopping, I'm stopping there and getting takeout. Better leave the gate open in case she decides to drive through again. The gate is open. My husband opened it first thing this morning when she called. We had the conversation. He had the conversation with her that I've had several times because we don't leave the hot tub on 24/7. It costs a ton of money to run that damn thing. It just does. So what we do is we turn it on 2 or 3 hours before we know someone's coming or before we're going to get into it. And so she called this morning and it'll be on maybe 2 hours when she arrives. And that's really not enough time for it to heat up. And she kept saying, but the sunlight heats it up. I wish, man, I wish the sunlight heated up, but it doesn't. The only thing the sunlight does is just make you get a tan while you're sitting in there. That is it. So she's not going to drive through those gates again. One job, I told them I always need off on the 26th because we are celebrating Boxing Day. That's a good idea. That is a real good idea. Um, for us, this is a slow season. My husband's not teaching English now because they've reached the end of the module. I don't know what's going to happen. I'm trying to do a few things to get everything ready for our visit. I had to create a set of kitchen curtains today because the kitchen curtains were in there. It was just time to change them out. They were starting to dry rot. You'll get a lot of that here, even with high-end custom-made stuff. After a while, it just wears out. Sunlight. I'm not mad at that, but it's something you have to keep in mind. I have to get the bedroom in here super clean and the guest room in here super clean. And I need to do just a mop and dust because the house is relatively clean, except I do need to mop and dust. Sweeping has turned into such a chore, I just can't do it anymore. It's just beyond me. So I'm going to have to press my husband into service. But we're mostly ready for this guy to come. It's just a matter of me of dusting and mopping everywhere, and we're golden. I just want to make sure the guest house is ready and the bedroom here is ready and just give him a choice. I even bought extra towels when I was at Price Mart Costco the other day. Really happy. They do come down. They haven't often now because of COVID. I have one child that is he is in conspiracy theory land that he was refusing to get vaccinated, even though the rest of us keep pressuring him to do it. So he's going to find that if he comes here, I've already told him he's planning on coming in April. I said, you're going to either have to get vaccinated or it's going to cost you $1,000 for the special tourist health insurance they make you buy when you come through here if you're not vaccinated. If you're not vaccinated within 14 days, you're going to buy that. It's expensive, $1,000. It was only like 90 per head, but now they've really raised that price. He's planning on coming in April. I don't know when my daughter's coming. My youngest daughter, she was here mere weeks before they closed everything for COVID here, when COVID was just starting to ease into the national consciousness in the US. She came down. She was sick as a dog. She made me sick as a dog. I'm thinking that it may have been COVID because we both lost all sense of smell and taste. And it was 3 or 4 weeks, 3 or 4 days in the bed. And we both ended up having to get a Z-Pack, erythromycin, to kill it. Whatever it was, it just wouldn't go away. I am going to get a robot mop and vac. I am. Now, my oldest daughter is not speaking to me currently. We have had our share of head knockings. I'm not upset by that. I know how she is. I know that she just needs time to get over it. And she tends to take offense pretty easily, too. So she takes offense over the kind of things that myself and others don't even think about. But I was thinking about that the other day. I think a lot of it is because I raised her very differently than I raised the two youngest. When she was young, I didn't know what the hell I was doing. And I was like, don't stay out after dark. Don't do that. Don't do that. Stay away from here. Blah, blah, blah. I was very fear-filled in the way I raised her. And I think it's playing out. It's played out in our relationship between the two of us. Her experiences of me are so different than the experiences of her brother and sister, that it's just a lot more difficult of a relationship between the two of us. And she goes through these spells where she's like, you're the worst person ever. I'm never speaking to you again. I kind of just shrug and go, okay, because there's nothing more you can really say. You have to just, yeah, bossy, I'm telling you that too. The other reason my daughter won't come down is COVID, because we're on level 4 do not visit list with the State Department. So my youngest will not come until that moves. The oldest one always gets that. Bossy, that is so true. And there's nothing really you can do about it because you know what the heck you're doing. The first one is kind of like that first waffle that seasons the waffle maker. It's going to come out a little lumpy and weird compared to the next ones. And you just cringe and go, oh God, I did that. I created this monster by not doing these things and by being so fearful with child number one. So I have some big regrets. I've apologized to her again and again and again for maybe not raising her as casually as I did number two and number three. You know that movie Parenthood? Um, they kind of made me laugh because they said the first one you worry about everything, but by the third or fourth one you let them juggle knives. There's a lot of truth to that statement. Merry Christmas, Boxing Day. Yes, great idea, Amanda. Merry Christmas, Boxing Day, whatever you celebrate here. So there's that. So, like I said, I'm not going to talk about her anymore about without a box of Kleenex, and I'm resigning from that community. It's just gotten too toxic. So we're going to we're going to have some fun. I'm going to keep looking at religion. I'm going to try and develop some more content. So that's where we are, and that's where I am today. And I'm getting ready to log off and go look at my ham and see if my ham is cooking, and watch a little Breaking Bad, hem some curtains, do some things that are just relaxing today. Because this build up, even as low key as it was a little stressful, especially that border run. We got to end that thing. We got to push to make sure our residency package is refiled soon because I can't take that border run anymore. That's just crazy when the guy said, well, you got to pay us extra money. You ain't got to do anything but stay white and die. I mean, that's literally it. Bob and Carrie, we're going to have more Spoonie content. Oh, Rose, I'm going to have to do more of that. I actually have two or three I've done, but I haven't uploaded because for some reason my iPhone quit giving me the ability to upload them onto YouTube or email them to myself. So I've got to figure out a way around that. I have got to find a way around that to be able to do that. I'd like to show you guys the awful, filthy grossness of Playa Brasilito so you don't make the mistake of booking there because it's a lot cheaper to stay there, but there's a reason. It's because you have all these shacks on the beach and you have this fish market. Everybody's just dumping their raw sewage right into the ocean there. So I'm not walking there anymore. It's too serious. I will say this. I have had my foot healing up pretty nicely. And the long walk I did, the mile or so there and back, across the border actually helped. I wouldn't have thought so, but because I was walking on that foot, it was constantly draining, so it didn't get all swollen and weird. And it's almost healed now. I am going to go check that ham. Okay. You guys have a great day. I just wanted to come on and say happy post-Christmas, happy Boxing Day. If your Christmas wasn't perfect or it didn't meet your needs or you didn't get to do it, don't worry. Go ahead and push that restart button and just go for it again. That's what I'm doing, especially after last night. Last night was it was not good. Like I said, if I'm around people that are drinking pretty heavily, I just shut down. It's just too much trauma for my childhood. Okay, you guys, I'll see you later.